A motor swap on a 2014 Ram ProMaster with a 3.6 pentastar. This motor's got 626,000 miles on it, so I want to gut it, see exactly what failed besides the chains. I started throwing a lot of codes for crank correlation with the cams. Right bank, which this side here was way off, 7 degrees out of time. You can see the tensioner should be here. That's how far that has gone. It normally rides right there. It's pretty near maxed out. Same way with the other side. It's pretty near completely maxed out. Chain running the oil pump is the same way. This tensioner normally would be, this chain would almost be straight. So this stuff is all broke off. It was laying down in here. That one right there was laying in there. That was laying in there. Bunch of chunks laying down in the pan. This tensioner is broke off the plastic. It's running right on the metal actually. Right there, it's running right on the chain. That runs up to the idler sprocket that runs the upper cams. So I'm gonna pull the oil pump off, and I'm gonna pull a couple crank journals and rod caps and see how whooped they are. This motor didn't use any oil, didn't smoke, ran smooth until this failure here happened. So let's gut her, see what it looks like. Well, in the oil pump, I don't see anything in here that would concern me. All the wipers, I don't know what they call them exactly, but they're all intact. They all look good. They're all making contact when you spin it. It's not all chewed up down in there. Hard to see it. Let's see if I... I don't see any bad scoring. I don't see any, I don't see anything in there that really concerns me. Oh, it looks pretty good. That's the cover. Not a lot of wear on that either. It all looks pretty good. You can still see the machining marks when it was made. So far, so good. Got the rod bearing off. I'm looking down into the cylinder. I don't know if I can make this work or not. Let's see if I can get that to focus. 626,000 miles on it, and this still has crosshatch showing. You can see it perfect, but I don't know if I can get it to show up on camera. I don't have a very good camera. I'm using my phone, so yeah, I can't get it to show. But the wrist pin is good and tight. That might show a little bit right there. The bottom of that piston is freaking spotless clean. Crank is perfect. It looks like a little bit, you can see it, you feel something right there, but here's the rod bearings. This is the top rod bearing. It looks like it passed something, but the way those timing chains exploded in there, there's no doubt that something went through, but the wear on those things is remarkable for 626,000 miles. It's not even through the freaking first layer, and that's the upper, that's the one that gets all the pressure. This is the one on the cap. Same thing. I mean, something went through, but it's freaking remarkable. So I got the main cap bolts off. This is actually a 4-bolt main, and the size, this is a V6. The size of those rod bearings is pretty remarkable. In the crank journals, they run a big journal on here, so it's really no wonder that the bottom's in good shape still. See if I can get another cylinder, maybe I'll show that crosshatch. No, I just can't make it show up, but I can see them real good on here. The bottom of the pistons are all clean. There's a little brown on that one. I mean, the whole motor's clean inside. It's Valvoline. That's all it's running is Valvoline. I have put Mobil 1 in it on occasion when the Valvoline was out at the store or whatever. But primarily it's Valvoline oil, and I change it on average. It's about 8,000. Sometimes before, I have gone 10, 11. I usually try to change it when I'm home. So if I'm home and it's got 6 on it, I'll change it. And if it's got 7 on it and I'm headed home, I'll come home and do it. So let's see if we can get that main off from there and see what it looks like. Yeah, they're popped off. Again, it's not the wear is freaking it's impressive. I don't see anything wore out here. Nothing. I mean, it's completely impressive. I mean, this bottom end is it's pretty girthy. You got 4 bolts going down through the top of your mains. There's a girdle that bolts onto here. Sets on top of the crank. This sets in here, and that's torqued down on top of the block, and it goes through into the crank journal, and then it's bolted to the side into the main journal. So I mean, it's a pretty girthy bottom end, and I'm impressed with the size of that that crank main. I mean, that's getting up into the small block Chevy size. That may even be bigger than a 350 Chevy. I'd have to measure it, but that's a pretty big journal on a little V6 motor, and so are the rods. And it's impressive how big they are. So if you got a 3.6, keep the oil change. The bottom end probably last you forever. Timing chains, not so much. Would I pull it apart to put chains in it and keep running it in the ProMaster? Probably not, because it's a little bit of a bitch to get to the timing chains to do it. I know some of these, they pull the engines out to do them, and if I'm going to pull the engine out, I'm going to put a low mileage engine in. I got an engine with 2,000 miles on it, $850. That's what went back in it. So it's kind of a toss-up there. They've already got bad lifters in them, and cam rollers. Roller rocker is iffy. They have a lot of problems with them. So, the valve train on this engine is definitely the weak link. But I mean, those chains got 626,000 freaking miles on them, and they're pretty long chains. So, and they're tiny. I mean, there's length of your fingernail wide. Is all they are. So, and it's actually pretty impressive. I'm impressed. I hope I get this many miles out of the motor I just put in it. We'll see. I hope. All right.